The Christadelphians believe the New Testament devil should be understood as a figure of speech, sinful human nature in personified form. Concerning Mark 3 verse 23, where Jesus said in parables, "How can Satan cast out Satan?" Christadelphian author John Bilello wrote, quote, "First and foremost is the plain Bible statement that this is a parable. It is not reality, and one can hardly claim a belief in a real personal devil based on a scriptural allegory any more than one would believe tortoises and hares talk, because Aesop's fable uses this device." End quote. That's from the Tidings magazine, October 1999. The New Testament frequently describes the devil in language that, if taken literally, portrays him as a real person. The question is, should we take it literally? Or should we understand the devil as a profound allegory, a literary device to help us understand the sinfulness of human nature? A strong argument against taking the devil to be an allegory can be made from two other of Jesus' parables: the parable of the wheat and the weeds, and the parable of the sower. The argument runs like this. These parables are fictional stories in which the characters, setting, and events are metaphors for reality. The interpretation of these parables must therefore be a description of reality. Since the devil appears in the interpretations of these parables, he too must be real. In the parable of the wheat and the weeds, recorded in Matthew 13 verses 24 to 30, there is a farmer who sows good seed in a field, and an enemy who comes and sows weeds there. There is a harvest, and there are reapers. Jesus explained the parable in private to his disciples. See Matthew 13, 37 to 43. The farmer is the Son of Man, the field is the world, the good seed are the children of the kingdom, the weeds are the children of the evil one, the enemy that sowed them is the devil, the harvest is the end of the age, and the harvesters are angels. Everything in the interpretation of the parable has a straightforward referential meaning. The devil is as real of a being as the angels and the Son of Man are. To conclude otherwise, we would need to claim that Jesus used an allegory in the interpretation of his parable. Furthermore, since the Greek word diabolos means slanderer or accuser, if we try to interpret this text using the lexical meaning of the word, we end up with a tautology. The enemy that sowed them is the slanderer. Similarly, in the well-known parable of the sower, a farmer sowed seed in various settings. The seed that fell along the path was trampled underfoot and devoured by birds. Luke 8 verse 12 records Jesus' explanation thus: "The ones along the path are those who have heard. Then the devil comes and takes away the word from their hearts, so that they may not believe and be saved." Note that where Luke says the devil, Matthew says the evil one, and Mark says Satan, showing that these three terms are equivalent. But the key point is this: once again, because this is the interpretation of a parable, we can only understand it as a description of reality. To interpret the devil's coming and taking away, or seizing as Matthew puts it, as a figurative depiction of sinful human nature, is again to say that Jesus explained his parable using an allegory. What teacher would tell a parable and use an unexplained allegory in the interpretation? The purpose of a parable is to induce an emotional response, but this would only induce confusion. Therefore, according to Jesus' teaching, the devil is a real enemy and not merely an allegory.